Hello, and welcome to part 2 of our Symphony of the Cells masterclass. So Stacy, our host, is going to take over, and we also have somebody who went to see her the other day and got her own treatment and would like to talk to us about her experience. So I'm very excited. Thank you all for being here, and I'm going to leave the floor to you guys.
So just a quick recap. Before we start sharing any informations or screens or anything, I want everyone to know that this is a comfortable, safe space, that we're all going to respect each other and respect each other's words and our experiences and our shares. So Kelsey, I realized, lives in Lethbridge, which is like 90 minutes from where I live. So she came up on Wednesday and we did a Symphony of the Cells. So if you don't mind, Kelsey, sharing your experience of what that felt like and what your week was like, I'd really appreciate that.
All right. It was a great experience for me. I am going from the world of loving the aromas and using essential oils that way to like realizing their real powers. So that was kind of a really good experience for me to see all of that working and have kind of a conversation that was kind of just, to me, a normal human conversation where we were trying to get to know each other. And in those moments, you were able to kind of identify things that I didn't really kind of pick up on. It's kind of, I guess, that outside perspective kind of idea that happened. And then yeah, it was really like, I felt really like it was a nourishing experience and I felt better. And as you can tell, Stacy, I'm actually feeling quite a bit better than I was also. So it was really neat. I was kind of wasn't expecting the chi diagnosis or thing that you did, but it was amazing. I feel really good. I don't know if you want to ask me more specific questions on that. I feel like I was a little bit broad, but
I have a couple questions. So what were you experiencing before versus how you feel now?
I was like feeling, I guess it's a lot of like self stuff. So like I'm trying to progress in a business and move into kind of a world that I'm a little more less familiar with, I guess I should say. I'm really good at caring for people, but that has always come with a diploma and a career and all this education and things. So it's like I'm interested and I'm learning just as much about this, but somehow I felt like people wouldn't value that because I wasn't paying thousands and thousands of dollars to an institution to get something put on a wall, I guess. So anyways, there was a lot of my own stuff, I guess, I had to deal with. And I feel like I kind of don't feel like I should hide as much, I guess. Now I'm just going to kind of go full send. And it's like, if you want it, look. If you don't look. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to have my journey no matter who's watching or who wants to participate, I guess.
That's awesome. So is it safe to say you're feeling a little bit more self-worth and have a better appreciation to your own self-care kind of thing?
Totally. And I feel like I was able to kind of like see from a different perspective a little bit. Like I was over analyzing everything. And it was funny because if you have the book and you look on the page that was specific to me and some of the oils that are included in there, it was like perfectionism and control things. And I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know how Stacy knew all those things because it just met her today, but she hit it on the head. And yeah, it kind of made me swing my perspective a little. And one really cool thing that I found, there was an oil in there. Stacy, if you can help me, I don't have it in my hands.
Cypress.
Oh, cypress. Okay, it's not in my collection yet, but it's on my list. And then it was in the application, and part of that is smelling it. And I smelled it as she's putting it on me, and I'm like, ooh, that's why it's not on the top of my list. Don't really like that one at all. And so I just kind of like smelled it quick. I gave it back, commented, I think, on how much I was like, ooh, don't like it. And then by the time she was done, literally 3 minutes later, I'm like smelling through them again. And I was like, wait a minute, I just hated this like 3 minutes ago. And it smells actually nice now and like refreshing. So it was weird to me. And I'd heard you say something before about how it's like, if you need them, you might be trying to avoid them a little bit, like medicine. So I kind of was like, wow, that really happened to me. I wasn't expecting it.
So one more question I have is, like, we all know from experiencing the first meeting how educated that Stacy is all around in just like healthcare itself and the oils. Do you feel like you could confidently give the exact same treatment to somebody and deliver the exact same experience?
Yes, actually, I was just saying to our friend Jocelyn the other day how even somebody in her country that only speaks Spanish could do it easily as long as they had the bottle of oil that had the right English name on there. You could follow by like name and pictures. Like literally, your child behind you, Robin, is very smart and could probably do it. Smell this in your nose, mommy. Drop it on your back. Like it's that simple to go through. So I was impressed by that. And it's like, rub it around. Everybody knows how to like rub in sunscreen. And right, that's your only skills really needed for that part. Sorry, Stacy, I don't want to make you feel like it's not skillful because it was. But
Oh, no,
I feel
not
like
at
I
all. No. So the biggest thing, so all of you know, the beautiful little lady on the bottom screen with the gorgeous purple hair, Angela, she's from our team and she does Symphony of the Cells as well. She's our Calgary lady. And so how does it feel for you, Angela, when you get to apply Symphony of the Cells? Because Angela is a hairdresser and a makeup artist and a photographer. So she really doesn't have a whole lot of background in medical, correct?
It wouldn't unmute. No, I don't have a medical background whatsoever. So that was one of the biggest things I had to work through when I started using essential oils and wanting to do something of the cells on people is, I don't know who mentioned that earlier. Sorry, I'm working at the same time too as I'm paying attention to this class. Is that when I started this, I felt like, well, there's so many people on my team, like Stacy and other people on the team that have all these medical backgrounds and degrees, and they've gone to fancy schools and this and that. I'm like, well, fuck, I don't have any of that. I'm not capable of doing this. But then using the oils, right, and working past all those blocks that I had, especially working with Stacy, made me realize that, no, I am a healer. I am able to do that. So that when I do work on people, I'm confident now in doing it. And everyone is completely different, right? Because everyone's energy is different. What you need to work through. Is it a physical ailment or is it emotional ailment? How am I feeling that day as well, too? Because if I don't prepare myself properly before it, right, then I take on that. And then it's super draining on me when I'm not proactive with protecting myself. Whereas when I do protect myself, right, then I'm able to like help them work through any blocks or emotional things. And I'm able to open myself up more to feel things to help them release that or just like crack that egg open so that they can do the work that they need to do, right? So it's quite a spiritual energy healing. I quite like it. I love it. So I've been doing them a lot more lately with people. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you so much for sharing, Angela. Angela is a single mom of a little gaffer who helps her quite often apply the oils on her back when he needs to help mommy out, right?
Oh yeah, he's totally turning into a little one. So he loves working with oils. I've been using them since literally before he was even born, using essential oils. So he knows all about them. Kids are the most intuitive because kids are just intuitive when it comes to anything like that, right? So, and he's a natural little healer himself. So he's got a 3,000-year-old spirit in him that he likes to work with. But yeah, he loves applying oils on mommy's back for her. So, and when he's
sorry, go ahead, Angela.
I was just going to say, when he's not around, then I have different tricks that I can use for myself.
Yeah, if you go on Oil Tools, there's this really cool wooden stick that's got two portholes in it. One where you can stick the 15 mil and one where you can stick in the roll on. Oh, there she's got it. Look.
Yeah.
And then you just.
Yeah. I always have oils handy. Ugh. You shove it in there and then you can just, it's like those things that you can use to like put on your socks, but yes, this is good for anyone that has, if you're by yourself, need to apply the oils, or if someone's older and they don't have the flexibility or dexterity to kind of like get back there and get on the oils. But I'm sure Stacy has said it doesn't matter where you apply them, just get the oils on you, even if it's just your hand, just your feet, the back of your neck. If all you can do is like touch your shoulders, just get them on you, smell you, just shower them on you if you have to, if you're having a bad day.
Yeah, Jason calls it the Italian shower. That's my partner. One of the things that I can't stress enough, I know I posted, our team has been so blessed and so enriched. We had Boyd Truman on a call, and I did put it in the group chat. Hopefully you guys can pop on and watch it someday. But one of the things that Boyd Truman says is that the energy of the oils themselves are the frequencies, and they will go exactly where they need to go. Just apply them, get them on you. That's all you have to do. So I had a little bit of technical difficulty earlier. Our internet crashed, and so things didn't get shared and not shared. So I'm just going to run a video using my iPad off of my Mac, just watching it. And it's going to be the basic Symphony of the Cells that I did on the this morning for Jason. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip my screen around here, and hopefully the IT gods will be with me.
Did the view change for everybody? Is Stacy big on your screen?
She was till you spoke. So now it's
Yeah.
probably
It's really, really quiet. Sorry, I'm not a very loud speaker.
I'll get you to speak again.
Can you guys hear it okay?
Stacy, it probably worked better if you became a host and actually then shared your screen instead of just flipping it around. Because I have my volume as high as I can, and I can barely hear.
One sec. The problem was it wouldn't flip over, like it wouldn't share on this one. And I know, Angela, you're like Jason, you're an IT god. So let me just see if I can find it, because at some point it wouldn't share from my Apple Photos for the videos that we took. Just I'm gonna mute for 1 second so I don't swear, and see if I can share it. If you can make me a host, Robin, that'd be great. Sorry, everyone. I'm this is what I'm saying. I am such a good healer, but when it comes to the IT stuff, it's like I just do my best and pray to the IT gods and like channel Elon Musk and all of the things.
There, you're the host now.
Angela, can you tell me why it won't pick up my videos? Is it because they're too big of a file to share?
Yeah, that could be it, depending on how big your file is. Like how long is it?
The first one is 7 minutes.
Oh, that should be okay then.
That's what I thought, but it won't let me share it at all. Okay, you know what? Poor Jason's just gonna have to suck it up, Buttercup. I'm gonna go grab him. 1 sec. Okay, can everybody so far see? I'm gonna try to get a proper chair here. Sorry if I'm making y'all seasick. Okay, so I have a massage chair here, and I like using the massage chair only because it's really nice. The oils go down vertically on their own. Now, Jason has super, super sensitive skin. Can you all hear me okay? Thumbs up? Okay. So this is the sensitive skin from doTERRA, the new one that just was released after convention. So that's what I'm going to use to apply. And I'm just going to put it on Jason in circular motions, like so. And when the skin is dehydrated and it soaks up right away, because you're sometimes using warmer oils, you're just going to do it again. The whole thing isn't about just putting the oils on meat. It's about the skin absorption and bringing it into the body. So the first oil that we're going to use is frankincense. And I'm just going to put it across his shoulders, down his back, and across his hips. Then again, I'm going to add the carrier oil to my hands, and you're going to rub in a circular motion. And I like finishing rubbing down the biceps, like a sweep, like you're sweeping the energy. So you're just rolling, rolling, rolling upwards till you hit the shoulder area, and then you're just going to sweep down. Next is tea tree. Tea tree is an astringent, and it's very, very, it's high in linolene, so it can be quite offensive to people who have sensitive skin. Now, normally I would put the frankincense on and then give it to the person underneath to smell, but Jason is very sensitive to smell and he already gets overwhelmed. So be mindful about who your client is. If they already have a very strong sense of smell and they feel overwhelmed, then just the way you're applying it, they'll still smell it through the application. So next is the tea tree. So you go across the shoulders, down the spine, and across each of the hips. And then again, you're going to put the carrier oil on your hands, and you're going to rub up in a circular motion, like so, and then sweep down the shoulders. And then next is the aroma touch across the shoulders, down the back, across the hips. And when the oil sits on top of the skin, because you've got the carrier oil on, don't apply any more carrier oil, just rub it in. And then last, we're going to drive it in with peppermint. Down and across. And then usually what I do, because that's all of the oils for basic, then I stick a warm blanket on top to drive the peppermint in and keep him warm and comfortable. Now I always do the feet last because of people coming in their sweat socks or their mucklucks, especially in the winter time. So I'm just going to put the iPad on the floor so you can see what I'm going to do, and you're just going to do the exact same thing with a couple more techniques just on the feet. So I'm just going to bring the iPad over here so you can see how I'm applying it to Jason's feet. So again, you're going to start with the carrier oil and go around the heels and down the feet on both feet. Now, how I like to put it on the feet is I drop it on the heels so that it goes all the way down. And I just do them one bottle at a time because you're just going to massage it in anyway. So that was the frankincense, the tea tree, the aroma touch, and now the mint. Now there are 3 types of mint that you can use. And I'm going to tell you when the proper mint should be applied. Japanese mint is for people who have achy, sore joints and feet, or rheumatoid arthritises, or they are construction workers and have they're on their feet all the time. Using the Japanese mint oil on the feet is a really, really, really nice way, especially if you're doing this at the end of the day and as a treatment to help them. Peppermint is for those who need the oils to be driven in, like first-time treatment people, because they will really benefit from circulation properties and the absorption, because peppermint pushes it into the bloodstream, and in the bottoms of your feet is where all of your nerve endings are and your blood endings. And then there is spearmint. Spearmint is the sister mint. So if you have people with super sensitive skin or little people, I like to use spearmint on little people instead of peppermint. It's the sister companion oil. It does the exact same thing, only it's not as hot. Does everybody understand? Any questions? Just unmute yourself if you have a question, okay? So now I'm just going to move this a little bit so you can see. So I'm going to cut my hand like a C, and I'm going to work in a circular motion like this around the tops of his heels. You're just using it as a C, and rotate your wrists down the outsides of the feet. And for people who are ticklish, you're going to push more pressure on. And then you're going to go from the top of the heel like a zigzag here, 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 and here with the pressure. So I'm just going to thumbs as pressure and go in a zigzag motion down the feet. And then I'm going to start at the top of the heel and just push down like you're milking a cow's udder, but with just the toes and the feet. And that's pretty much it.
Stacy, did you choose those different mints on the back as well, or is that just for the feet?
Well, by the looks of it, Stacy got kicked off again. But the way I understood it was the different peppermints were for the different types of people, not specifically for the feet.
Not just on the feet, but
Yeah, you would choose the different mints and stuff depending on the person and the ailments that you're working on. So if you're working on a small child or someone elderly or someone that has really sensitivity to smells, spearmint's a really good one to use down their back and onto their feet. The Japanese mint one, like Stacy said. So he's kind of like tweak it to what you feel like the person needs. So, and depending on their sensitivities as well too. So, and if someone has really, really bad sensitivities, the touch oil is another good alternative as well too, because it's already diluted with fractionated coconut oil. So I don't find it happens very often. I've only ever had one person who was like super sensitive to smells, so that we had to really dilute the oils. So, but I always just say use your intuition, right? So
thank you.
Oh, I didn't realize that I was muted. I'm like, why isn't she answering me? Anyways, Angela, since you've had more experience than probably most of us here, do you have any like cool tips or tricks that you've learned through your experience?
well, that could just be a class for tips and tricks. So, for me personally, like when Stacey was going over the feet, I don't massage into the feet that much. I have a foot thing. I don't like touching people's feet. I find they're gross. The only people I actually really do is kids' feet. So I know Stacey does it differently, but I always just do the back and the feet all at the same time. And I just like push them in. Every once in a while, I get an inkling for an oil that actually needs to be worked into the person's foot. So then I'll suck it up and do it. But most of the time, it's just a matter of like just brushing it over the people's feet. So I haven't had anyone with really bad or like stinky or gross feet, but I always have it prepared in my bathroom, or if I go there, with a dish, like not a dishcloth, a washcloth that they could go, wipe off their feet if need be. But I haven't had to do that just yet. So, but I also mostly just worked on women, so it's usually men that have the grosser feet. But yeah, Stacy's more into it, and she has a whole massage Chinese medicine type thing that goes on with all the different reflex points. Whereas I'm just like, I just brush it over the feet. But I see that Stacy's back now. So
Sorry, our internet cut out. So if any of you have ever taken the Aroma Touch training, you can use the same technique on the Aroma Touch training on the feet and the hands. Thanks again for the save, Angela. See, this is the amazing thing about the people that you're going to meet when you do this business. The last thing that I do is Boyd just says to do the spine and the feet. But for me personally, I also do the hands when given the time. I know Kelsey didn't get that when she was here because she was on a time constraint to get back to pick up her daughter. But if you're doing the hands, because you already have the oils on your hands, you can apply a few more drops if you want, but you're just going to run up the meridians from the wrist all the way up and then just squeeze to the top of the finger. So again, you're going to rub from the middle all the way up, and you're just like how when you're trying to squeeze the last bit of the tube out of the toothpaste out, you can do that as well, all the way up on both hands. And that's when they can really smell it too. So if there are people who don't really love the smell, that's a great way for them to do it as well. So whoever was, Mandy, was it you who was asking about the oils in the back before my internet cut out? Okay. So yes and no. I like using the Japanese peppermint on heavy chronic stressors. So the Japanese mint is the same if you've ever used Hajia oil or Hajina oil, however it's pronounced. It has those exact same properties, and all it's going to really do is like drive in what you're putting on them. So I try not to use the Japanese mint on people who don't have arthritis, only because it is a really, really intense warm oil, and it's just going to really drive it in. So even how you're like rubbing your shoulders, for you, even if you just put frankincense, Aroma Touch, and Japanese mint on your shoulders, especially if you're a chronic stressor, even if that's all you do for yourself, you're still doing enough self-care to make a huge difference, to take out some of that tension. Because the whole thing is each one of the frequencies of the oils holds different properties. Rose is the highest frequency. If you're having a toddler freaking out, rose is your best friend. Seriously, we've all had toddlers freaking out. So, and we know that within 30 seconds, you put it on their back and rub in their hands and get them to teepee tent and smell it. Even if that's all you do, you are doing yourself a huge service. So for people who are chronic stressors, chronic worriers, and people who take on responsibility of others a lot, frankincense, rose, Aroma Touch, and peppermint are four amazing basic oils that you can have to support the body's central nervous system and try to relax. If you don't have Aroma Touch, Balance is a great oil for grounding. And so before a client comes in, quite often I put Balance on myself and On Guard. The balance is to ground me and protect me and keep me adjusted and in the right framework of mind. And the on guard is to shield so that my stuff stays my stuff and their stuff stays their stuff. And I know that's kind of what you were asking a little bit the other day, Robin, right? Where you were like, what can I do to support myself to have a healthier energy shield when all of this stuff is constantly coming at you? And the whole reason why I wanted to have this workshop to teach you guys about Symphony of the Cells is because it is an amazing preventative tool that you can use on yourself for what we're doing exactly right now. Sitting in front of Zoom, hosting people, talking to strangers, because you're holding their energy in your energy field. And so when you're giving yourself Symphony of the Cells, whether it be chi, or I like to use C2 when I'm clearing, like when you left that day, Kelsey, I did C2 on myself. And then because I knew you were a little bit under the weather, I did ID, the infectious disease, on myself the next morning. And it's just preventative medicine, right? So here's where I'm going to open it to the floor and you guys can ask any question you want. Nothing is off topic, okay? But if we're going to use words, we're going to use disorders instead of the labeled condition because we're recording and I know Robin wants to post this. We're going to use the word pandemic instead of the Rona and things like that, okay? So try to keep it as non-specific if you can without calling out the disorder.
Don't everybody jump at once.
I have 25 years of medical degrees, okay, guys? So this is your one opportunity. If you want to pick a nerd's brain, pick away, because I love being able to help people understand and strategize. I'm going to share the videos in the chat box, but one of the things, and so Kelsey, I'm going to get you to unmute just so that we can go through it. When Kelsey was telling me situations that were working, do you remember what the first thing you said that you were having a problem with?
I honestly don't.
Okay.
Like my personal, I think it was personal stuff was what I first said, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Now I'm like, it's resolved.
Yeah, she was talking about holding a lot of tension in her body. And then in the chat came up bursitis. She had bursitis. So when we're talking about any of those systems, we're talking about musculoskeletal systems. Anything that is tendon or deep strain in nature, like tense shoulders, massage therapists who have rotten hands, people who have overworked carpal tunnel, that can all be under the layer of musculoskeletal. Then Kelsey was telling me that she had a lot of stress in her life at the moment and was a single mom. So again, I look, oh, look, right there, nervous, ding. And then she was saying how sometimes she gets really, really stressed out and has shallow breath. Well, that will make your heart race. So bing, cardiovascular. And she was under the weather and said she had a runny nose. Bing, immunity. And respiratory is always great because it helps you take a deep breath.
And I have acute asthma also, which was another one that was a ding.
Yeah.
Which was surprising to me anyway.
when we're looking for clues on what specific protocol to use, that's where you listen when the person is talking for clues. So she mentioned body systems of musculoskeletal, like the muscular system, immunity, nervousness. Okay, but I'm going to show you another one that's close. So this is C2. We have a lot of the same similar properties in that protocol, except for The only thing that's different is if somebody were to say, yeah, I have really bad acid reflux, or I get chronic IBDs, or I have really bad time with constipated stools, then I would prick C2 because digestive. And that's the only difference. So between those two, Chi and C2, you'll see that a lot of the different recipes in the systems are similar, but you're listening for clues in the body systems.
Mhm.
Make
And the one thing
sense?
I realized, Stacy, when I was there talking to you is like, just to ask questions. Because when I was there, like, I was not going to list, like, bursitis is something that I dealt with 2 years ago. And it was like, it's cleared up. That's not something that was even on my radar in my head. So when you started asking me further questions, like going through the list, I was like, oh yeah, actually, I have dealt with that. That's not today's issue, but it definitely was relevant. So it kind of helped just put those all together. So I felt like it was like a good way to ask questions to clarify, and like, it made me feel more powerful because I don't need to know it. I'm just literally asking you the questions, and we're kind of going through process of elimination together. So I was like, oh wow, yeah, no, I could easily ask these questions, and that person might realize things they're not thinking of at that moment too. So that was cool for me.
Mandy, would you like to run through one to see how we look for a body systems in a certain particular client or even yourself, so that I can show you?
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I was just scrolling through on the app and looking at some of the different ones. And I work with a lot of people who have digestive troubles and hormonal imbalances. So would you go through, I was looking for the hormonal balance protocol. You would go through all of those 10 oils and use them that way, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And exactly like how we did when I was doing Jason with the basic, that's exactly what you do. And you just go through each and every one of them. But if you were to think about the body systems, you want to listen for clues in the body systems. So I want to help you by running through with you. So I would meet with you and go, hi, Mandy, my name is Stacy. How are you?
Good.
You seem stressed because I saw you hold your breath.
Yeah, I've had a lot of changes the last couple of weeks. So yeah, just kind of getting in my bearings.
So if you were to say, what would be the very first thing that seems to be on your radar with what's going on right now in your body?
A lot in my body. I'm feeling a lot of muscular tension in the neck and shoulders.
Okay. So again, what you've just done is you've broken it down to the very first thing on her list in a body system is going to be musculoskeletal. So you can flip through all the pages and go to the one of the body systems where it says musculoskeletal as one of the very first body systems. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about that kind of tension? Is it more emotional tension or physical stress?
I think it's a combination. It's definitely a combination. Physical stress, I would say.
Okay. And has there been a lot of change lately in your life?
A ton of change in my life. Yes.
Change that you're happy about or kind of feeling anxious about?
There's definitely some anxiety around it. I'm, excited and happy, but there's some anxiety too. It was very it was change that I was forced into. So.
And in your family background, have you ever had any medical diagnoses?
There's some autoimmune conditions. That's probably the main that I can go.
Okay, so here's where I would pick out the word endocrine, because autoimmune disorders are under the endocrine family. So here she has said nervousness, right? That anxiousness, stress, muscular, skeletal, and endocrine. Can you tell me a little bit more about the medical stuff in small detail?
About the autoimmune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for myself, I actually have Raynaud's. So that's an autoimmune condition. I feel like I have never had a diagnosis, but I think there could be a bit of thyroid condition as well. And yeah, Raynaud's my family, definitely, for on my mother's side of the family. And a lot of MS as well. MS was on my grandmother had MS.
Okay.
Be the main ones.
So would you say that more of what's going on in your treatment, you'd like to have more release and be able to just calm your body and center a little bit more? Or would you try to get more towards the root of the autoimmune issue? And this, people, is where you have to listen to the client, because the client knows what they need more than you do, and you are not a medical professional.
Well, I mean, the more acute situation is definitely the stress, but I feel like I have a lot of tools in place to work with that. So definitely, I think the autoimmune would be something that I know that I've been trying to get to the root of myself with my Raynaud's. Just been kind of living with it. Yeah.
Okay, so with what Mandy said, there are 3 protocols that fit all those descriptions. The first one is lymphatic. And that would be something that she could use herself continually to deal with her chronic condition. The next one is inflammatory. And anything that deals with autoimmune is inflammation. So that's something you can easily deal with. And it's something that we all should be doing with the crisis that our world is in right now. You should be doing inflammatory protocol at least once every 12 days for yourself to drain. And then the last one that came up is purpose. So there are 2 choices, but Mandy said that she wants to deal with the root. So if Mandy just wanted release and to come back to center and to have some sort of being able to let go of some of the chronic stuff, I would pick purpose. But because she said that she'd like to deal more with her root issue, I'm going to go lymphatic. And the reason why I'm going to go lymphatic is because a lot of inflammatory stuff has to do with digestive issues. So it's going to work on her digestive system. It's going to help with circulation, because everything autoimmune related starts in the digestive tract and goes secondary into cardiovascular. So that's all of your blood, both sides of the release and the uptake. The other thing with immune issues is urinary bladder. So for people who have, if I were to ask her, have you ever had any chronic urinary bladder infections or UTIs? Nope, perfect. Because the urinary system releases stored, blocked. When we're talking about, I know this is going to get medical, but when we're talking about cellular apoptosis, where we're trying to get rid of the garbage cells, you want to open the urinary tract to release it. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then immune. So lymphatic, again, I would warm her up. You're going to put on frankincense. And this is where the second, you always must put on carrier oil, because a lot of the heavier autoimmune protocols have hot oils like rosemary, tea tree, on guard, those kinds of things. They can be very skin irritating. So you really want to layer a good layer of carrier oil on. And then after each one of those oils, you want to apply more carrier oil in between them. And then the other thing that I love to do as a Symphony of the Cells too, when I have my clients, is to do a mini wellness consult. So then I would ask Mandy after the protocol, what are you taking for supplements through doTERRA?
Through doTERRA? The only doTERRA one I am using regularly is turmeric. I have a lot of other supplements that I'm taking, but
Okay. So then I would add on to her, if I knew she was a client who had her doTERRA account, I would suggest for her autoimmune disorder to get on the Lifelong Vitality Vegan, because they have more digestive aids in them and they have less non-vegan proteins. And so your body will absorb them easier, more frequently. And I would also suggest getting on DDR Prime. You're already taking the turmeric, but DDR Prime internally helps with inflammation markers. So anybody who has autoimmune disorders, if you take DDR Prime religiously twice a day, turmeric capsules twice a day, you get on your vegan lifelong vitality, and then you add the Yarrow Palm complex because it has frankincense and melissa, you're golden. Does that make sense to everyone?
I actually have a question for you about the lifelong vitality. I need to have a method, like I need to have, my B vitamins need to be methylated. And I don't believe that that's the form in the lifelong vitality.
The vegan is different. Let me just grab the box.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the vegan one.
Well, so what was happening for me is, so I have a really bad autoimmune disorder as well. And so I was taking the regular lifelong vitality, but it was kind of like, I could feel it working, but I was taking a ridiculous amount of the omegas to try to keep working on the repair of my brain after my accident. And I was doing an Itovi scan with somebody and we missed it 2 months in a row, but it said vegan lifelong vitality, not regular lifelong vitality. So I've only been on this a month, and let me tell you, it's totally different. So the difference is in the Alpha CRX and the VMX Omega. They are much different than the regulars. So you were saying B, right?
Yeah, that was the only reason I stuck with the multi that I was currently on, because the B vitamins are methylated.
Yeah, these ones say that they have HCl glycoprotein matrices. And the vitamin B12 is the methylcobalamin. So I think that's the way that that you'd be able to absorb them. I think they are methylated in the Bs. And that's in the VMXZ of the vegan ones.
Awesome. I never even thought to look at the vegan ones.
I didn't either. Honestly, I only share information that I learned. And this is the whole thing about trial and error, right? You have to be your own best detective. Sometimes some things works and sometimes they don't. I was taking 8 of the omegas because I'm an O blood type to try to help my nervous system with all the chronic stress. I'm at home with 3 autistic kids, homeschooling. So I have a lot of chronic stress. And it just didn't, it seemed like a ridiculous amount to be ingesting to not be working. We switched to the vegan last month and I'm only taking now 4 and I feel clearer. Like I don't get that fog anymore. And I was taking the Mito 2 Max to try to help with that and it wasn't working for me. So when I switched to the vegans, it was like instant. It was like within a week, I noticed a huge difference. So if you have any chronic digestive issues, chronic fatigue issues, endocrine issues, please don't be like me and get yourself on the vegan, because it's just way more absorbable. And I can send you screenshots if you want me to, Mandy. I can add you on my Facebook and then just send you all the messages of all of the different complexes so you can see, because these new bottles have QR codes on them so you can look them up.
Okay, yeah.
The other nice thing I love about the new bottles with the QR codes is that you can scan the QR code and send them straight to your physician that you're working with. Because that's the other thing that I'm going to really pound into all of you is we are not medical professionals. We are doTERRA advocates, wellness advocates, right? So make sure that you tell your people when they're working with their physicians, when they have chronic ailments, just take this, print it off and send it, like work with your doctors. Because the more that we can teach the healthcare profession that this is a really nice way that we can be adding natural bioavailable products along with the treatments that we're doing, the more demystified it becomes and the more well-rounded, especially because we're in Canada. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot of information, guys, and you're all probably tired.
I love it.
Hey, good. I do too. I'm a nerd. This is where I
Yeah.
geek out on the science. I'm like, I follow Dr. Hill and Dr. Osgothorpe, and I'm like constantly watching all of their YouTubes that they do and constantly sitting on seminars. I just got off of one a week ago about the DDR prime and the turmeric encapsulated. And they were talking about chronic inflammation and digestive. And they said, if you do nothing for yourself during the pandemic, if you take your On Guard beadlets, and I'm going to also share information that I just found out on a webinar this morning. If you have people that have vitamin C or vitamin D issues, do not encourage them to get on the pastels, the new On Guard pastels. There have been lots of people who have been having a hard time with digesting the vitamin C in the pastels for some reason. So turn them towards the On Guard beadlets or the soft gels instead.
What's the form of vitamin C in the, I can't remember what that was. I know I looked when they first came out.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's the vitamin C itself. I think it's the pastel coating that is not allowing for a deeper absorption. So I know, right? All of these things we learn. But like everything, I'm pretty sure they're just going to continue to progress as it goes along. But if you have a person who has vitamin absorption issues, I would suggest you telling them to get on the On Guard or the beadlets while they're trying to deal with certain issues that are going on outside of our world right now, instead of, or they can just quick, do you guys know how to make a flu bomb? Does everybody know how to make a flu bomb? Yeah? No? Thumbs up if you do, thumbs down if you don't. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you do? Okay, perfect. So you guys are golden. The other thing you can do too, Mandy and anybody while they're waiting for their products, is you can use your veggie caps and make yourself, you know, your own stuff. You can take it all internally. You can use the liquid DDR prime and put 2 drops in a veggie cap, 1 drop of frankincense and 1 drop of copaiba, and then add your On Guard to that as well, and your lemon oil.
So is that the same ingredients in the DDR prime supplement?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just remember, if you're stuck waiting for product or you can't get your hands on it right away, just use your oils and just put them in a veggie cap.
Cool. I'm trying to get my husband to come up. He's afraid to come on the camera. But while I'm waiting for him to grow up here, I want to
You can
ask
turn your screen off.
a question I
I
do
knew you'd
have.
love this group, Angela. These are my people.
I'm wondering the difference, like, as far I know, like if you want to really get into aroma touch technique, there's like an actual certification. Is that true or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And why? Like it seems like I didn't do any looking into this. But why, where this one just seems so much more scientific, why does this one seem easier to do than the aroma touch?
So one of the things that you guys are going to learn as you start to watch the heavy duty leaders. So Angela and I follow everything Desiree. Is it Delune? I can never say her name right anymore. Yeah, Delune. Okay. So she used to be Desiree Mangdon Dog, but she's now Desiree Delune. And the reason why I follow her is because she does what I do. But Boyd Truman comes from a very spiritually background place of being a nurturer. And he said he wants every basic mom to be able to do this. And so you'll notice that some people, their deliveries will be very geared in the lane that they are in. And Boyd is more of a big teddy bear dad who just wants you to heal and be healthy. So he not only has his 27 years of experience, but he grew up in a home where his mom did this. So he's got, however old he is, experience. So he has first hands-on practice knowing to try to apply the most amount of influence with the least amount of effort. Does that make sense? He just wants everybody to be able to do this. Whereas the aroma touch technique is more geared towards a technical technique, like doing massage therapy, geared to specifically hit target spots. So it's more of a specialized lane of where people who have so, okay, I'll break it down. There are people who just want to do the things and get the things done. Then there are people who want a little bit more science, want to have a little bit more information and know-how. And then there are the rocket scientists, brainiac nerds who just want to have it all. So it depends on where you float in between that. You will find your healer mentor that you'll connect with, right? Some people just like to come to doTERRA for the business. Some people just like to come for the community. Some people like to do the oils because it's fun and it's a new thing for them. So when you're talking about Symphony of the Cells and healing, you're talking about multiple generations of science, knowing how that particular flower essence or plant medicine or herb or frequency or blend will better benefit that particular system. Make sense? Did your husband grow up here yet? Do you have any questions? Go ahead, Mandy.
I have a question around that as well. Sorry, I'm just gonna, my kettle is really loud. Turn that off. Yeah, so I'm a massage therapist, and I was looking at incorporating it into my clinic, my practice. So would you say that maybe aroma touch might be better as a treatment in the clinic, but then Symphony of the Cells for to teach clients to do on their own?
If you're asking my personal opinion, I would suggest sticking with Symphony of the Cells, especially because you're dealing with chronic conditions. Mm-hmm. Aroma touch is something that you could do for just basic, right? For the clients that don't have a lot of autoimmune issues and whatnot. But I would definitely use Symphony of the Cells. And if it was me, I would just charge an extra $20 to cover your oils.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Offer it as an add-on.
as an add-on, and then and definitely allow extra time to go through it, make sure you're choosing the right oils.
I would just look at their systems and just go through the systems, just like how you do when you're taking in their inventory for their fill out sheet requirement that you have to sit down. That's when you should ask your Symphony of the Cells questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're doing their intake, just add it to their intake form. You can even go on the website and just print off an intake form that Boyd does, and you can add that to your intake form. The other thing is Boyd is coming to leadership. So if you've made elite between October through January, if you've hit elite in any one of those months, you're allowed to go to leadership in Nevada in March. And he will be teaching, and you can get certified in Symphony of the Cells.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mandy, I was just gonna say, over the holidays, I did like as a gift to my parents, I gave them a massage and I did a Symphony of the Cells treatment at the same time. This treatment itself really doesn't take time. Like you just saw Stacy do it to her partner. That was the basic treatment, but it took 5 minutes. Like the other ones are maybe twice the amount of oils, right? Like it doesn't take long, and you can either do it throughout, you can wait and do it all at the end, you can do it right at the beginning. Like you just kind of, I don't know. I maybe, please step in, Stacy, if you think
Find a rhythm.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
with my massage clients
Find
that
your
come for
rhythm.
just massage, I add it to during the treatment. And then I always finish, because you're always going down the legs anyway. So I just make sure I only apply the oils to the back and the feet during that treatment, because sometimes sweating and things like that with your sweat glands behind your knees and your elbows. Just make sure that you have a baby wipe or a hot cloth and you're rinsing your hands of those hot oils before you move on to the arms, the legs, that kind of thing. Okay. I would just incorporate it that way.
Cool. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how I was going to do it, but because I'm always using oils in my treatments, it's just I haven't used them. I choose just according to what I feel a client needs that day or what they might tell me, but I haven't used a specific protocol so far. So yeah.
Well, the nice thing about the specific protocols too is, especially if they're a client that you may want to become a customer, is that you can, when they come back to you the next time and say, oh my God, Mandy, that treatment you did was so awesome. You can say, well, here are the oils that I use. You can get it in this basic kit. I'd be more than happy to teach you how to do this at home to cut down your clinic time. It's a great way to get a customer. That's the thing I love about it, is they get an experience, and then you can enroll them later on after they've had a few experiences and say to them, okay, this is your chronic condition. These are the oils you should be having at home to be able to help with that chronic condition.
Heck
And
yeah.
it lessens your workload too, believe it or not. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's
Love
like
it.
I said, it's just what you're doing is, I want to give you guys confidence so that you can take this, apply it to whatever you're doing, have more confidence in what you're doing, and be able to, you're selling the application in what you're doing, but you're promoting the product and they're getting an experience so that they can say, oh, wow, that isn't hokey crap, right? This isn't going to just fix that. It actually does have a synergy to doing it this way. And for those that don't want to buy a membership, I just charge an extra $25 and I put their protocol in the tube like we talked about last week. And then I send it home with them to keep doing self-care practice. And when it's empty, they come back, I refill it for that $25 fee. Make sense?
And you do that as a roller for them.
Yeah, I do it as a roller in the layers. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And just add them, because the whole thing is you want them to be a repeat customer, right? And this is a great way of sampling, but not going broke sampling. You're just adding it to what you're already offering and doing. It's an add-on. Would you like to take home your Symphony of the Cells in a 10 mil roll-on? Just let me know at the end of our treatment and I'll make you one up. It'll just be a $25 administration surcharge fee. Hi, Robin's husband.
Hello.
This is Matt. I know Stacy, I've been talking to you for a bit here. Anyways, he is always stressed out, right?
Yep.
But I'm just gonna let you do your thing. Ask him the questions he can answer in his terms instead of me just relaying, being the middleman.
Okay. So Matt, what do you do for work?
I do project management and consultation work.
Okay, on construction?
Yep, on rental properties right now. I just started 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yep.
So are you in and out of your truck a lot, back and forth between job sites?
Yep. Yeah, every day.
And are you wearing the same gear on different projects?
Yep, every once in a while.
Okay. When was the last time you changed your construction boots?
The last time I changed my construction boots be almost 2 years now.
Okay, so because of the work that you're doing and the amount of walking that you're doing, you should be changing out either your construction boots completely every year, or every 6 months putting new insoles
Yep.
into them. Are you doing that?
No.
Okay, so that would be my first level for you, would be to say that you need to, because your feet absorb everything. And
Yep.
when you're on project to project to project, because there's a lot of environmental dust, there's a lot of waste, you're walking on uneven, and then you're climbing up a ladder and doing project stuff. That's really, really hard on your feet, and your feet are your base foundation for, in my medicine, your feet, all your kidney points are on the bottom of your feet.
Yep.
So you want to protect them. You want to be
Okay.
wearing good insulated socks that have compression in them, and you want to be putting new insoles in those boots every 6 months and changing out your boots once a year. Most companies that you can work for, you can ask for clothing allowance.
Yep.
And if not, I would talk about my chronic health condition to say, like,
I work for myself. I'm the owner of the business, so
okay,
just
yeah.
haven't made it a priority to buy the boots. I
No,
thought about it
that's
at
okay.
Christmas. I was like, I should get myself a new pair of boots, and then, I bought other stuff at Christmas for other people and moved on
Yeah.
and went back to work. But
Does it make sense though?
yeah, it does 100%. And I've had people tell me that at other companies that I've worked at, that listen, here's your boot thing, and you should buy the first pair yourself, and in 6 months we'll replace them, and then the next year you do the same thing. So they were recommended it at least yearly, but 6 months would be a priority. But 2 years probably I've had the same pair of boots that I got on sale at Walmart for $80, when before that I would have bought $250, $300 boots.
Yeah.
But I just started my own business, got a cheap pair of boots, and they got
No,
holes
it's
in them
okay.
now and everything. Oh, I know. It's just
Yeah.
I'm just telling you exactly where it is now today.
Yeah.
So I'll need a new
So
pair of boots.
so your feet are your first defense, because
Yep.
your kidney channels are in your feet.
Okay.
So a lot of autoimmune issues or chronic stress issues fatigue the kidneys. Okay. So that would be my first thing I would say to you, is get some new boots right away.
Okay.
As soon as you can afford it, make
Yep.
it a priority. Okay.
Yep.
The second thing is, how is your overall heat? Do you tend to run hot and cold? Are you pretty much the same temperature all the time?
I run cold a lot, so I'm always running the heat in the car.
And do you get pains in your lower back a lot?
Yeah, my whole back and my neck and stuff like that. Yep. A lot of it's from past injuries.
Is the pain more right about here, where it chronically hurts all the time?
Yeah, right where the rib cage kind of starts, just above, like the second or third rib up. Yeah.
Okay, I hate to tell you this, my friend, but you don't have chronic stress, you have adrenal fatigue. Just saying.
Yep.
Ooh, that's good to know.
Yeah. So that's what I had after I left the military. So one of the things that we were talking about again, right? Musculoskeletal, because he's working constantly. Then again, in the body systems, I can tell even just by the rash that he has on his face that there's some autoimmune stuff going on. And chronic stress will bring on immune systems all the time. So
Yeah.
anytime you hear the word stress, I want you to listen to how stressful it is. So Matt says, like, he's his own boss. He's his own boss so much that for 2 years, he couldn't buy himself his own construction boots. Okay. So that's chronic stress. That's worry and stress, and that'll wear a person out. Are you a person who tends to get a lot of colds?
Yes. In the past.
Okay. Have you, do your joints hurt?
Not so much.
Okay. So here's where we talk about possible conditions, right? He said backache, neck, stress. Do you get headaches?
Yes.
Do you get allergies?
Yep.
Okay, so all of those are in this protocol. Ding, intro number 2. That's what you get.
Yeah.
So frankincense, tea tree, lavender. If you don't like lavender, Matt, talk to Robin, switch it out for petitgrain. It's less
Okay.
offensive. The easy air blend, oregano, and the soothing blend is peace, right, Angela? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Anyway, I'll look it up after. It's okay, sweetie. I know you're working.
Somebody did put it in the group chat too.
Yeah. And then peppermint. So that's what I would do. And I would get Robin to apply it once every second day for about 2 weeks and see how you respond.
Okay.
The next one, and this is where you can layer protocols too. So I would start with intro number 2, Robin, and then I would add inflammatory.
Okay.
And the
Something
reason why I
wanted
would
to add, just for the whole story of it all, before he went to the doctor, was it yesterday? No,
2 days
Tuesday.
ago.
I was talking to Stacy. This was when he first kind of like started to get sick, and it was like he had these like bumps underneath his neck that was causing him to become more stressed, and he had one red spot on the forehead. So at the time, he said suggested sensory to start with to open the channels, and then lymph. Well, typically when you're diagnosed with shingles, which is what he diagnosed him with, shingles and secondary infection that he did not really specify, he's now taking 18 pills a day to get rid of it. But normally you would like have that pustule happening for a few days before it would scab. It was less than 24 hours. Now he's already scabbing and healing.
Yeah. So
Still painful, but
yeah, shingles is the worst. It
Oh,
literally
it is not fun. Nope,
No.
it's not fun. It's all on my scalp, like all my hair follicles, all the nerves, and it's just extremely raw.
And here's where you have to be really careful, Matt, because if you don't take care of this properly, you could end up with fibromyalgia after, because shingles as an
Because of the
adult
nerve
is the
endings.
autoimmune response to provoke. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what he was telling me. All the nerve endings are exposed and the damage is being caused. So you really got to get taken care of and then to put things in place so it doesn't happen again. He said
Yep.
it was 100% stress related when he talked to me and knew what I was doing for work and what I was doing and everything else. So yeah.
But stress, and I want to really emphasize this about stress, chronic stress. So your kidneys are your powerhouse. They're the battery in your truck, but your adrenals are the spark plug. And when you tap out the battery and there's nothing left to draw from it, it'll flip over to the adrenals and
Yep.
kill the spark plug. And the adrenals will get just drained. And so the body will wake up in the morning and it'll be like, to get
Yep.
it going,
Hard
right?
to get it going. Yep.
Yep. And then, so then what do? Oh, you overstimulate with caffeine because that'll
Yep.
help.
100% caffeine,
Yep.
Red Bull. Yeah, it used to be
Yep.
cigarettes. Now I've got 32 days in without smoking. But before that, it was like breakfast was Red Bull and 3 cigarettes. Let's go back to work and work 12 hours and go
Yep.
home exhausted and go to bed. Yeah,
Yep.
Do it again. Do it again the next.
Yep. Yeah. And so what that does is you're draining your batteries in your kidney all the time.
Yep.
And those constant stimulants, they're false in nature. The kidney will go, oh my God, you're dehydrating us. You're stripping us of everything that's inside of here. And it will slowly steal all your life chi. And it will just think of it like a very desolate Sahara desert when there's been no monsoon for forever, right? It's dry, it's bare, there's nothing, you can't get a drop of nothing anywhere. So we have to flood the aqueducts open. And that's why I thought sensory, I don't know why sensory came up when I was talking to Robin about, as soon as I saw your marks and lymphatic. So first goes adrenals, then where does it go? Oh, trips all of your lymphatic system open. So it goes, oh, you're totally not going to take care of us. Well, we're going to shut you down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Try to filter out all the poisons.
Exactly. And it's nothing to feel bad about. Like, these are the things we need to learn. So for you, the biggest thing would be to get on Mito2 Max as soon as possible to help protect your adrenals.
Okay.
You need to take that as your stimulant instead of a stimulant. I would break down and only do caffeine 2 cups a day. So have 1.5 in the morning and 1 small one in the afternoon. Go ahead, Angela. Yeah, go ahead.
You should try using AirX instead of Easy Air, especially when you're on the job site and you're breathing in all those pollutants. That's what AirX was for. And then there's other oils in there like Litsea and frankincense that will also help with some of the emotional drainage that you're going on, that will help to support the adrenal fatigue. But AirX is amazing for any air pollution. So if you're on the job site and there's lots of dust and chemicals and stuff in the air, you can either put a drop of that in your mask. If you
can drink it in your water, it's safe to drink.
Yeah, you can put it in there. If you get really into it, you can get a little diffuser you can put in your truck. So when you're driving around after the job site, you can have a diffuser going in, because you can get little car diffusers that plug in.
Yeah, we have one. Yep. I used it for a while. I think I used it so much I broke it.
Yeah, AirX. No, someone's telling me that you should be using AirX. So
awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
For some in this fall.
Yep. So those are just all little things that I would start. I would continue to do ID protocol, Robin. The infectious disease, because that will help you heal, Matt, while you're going through this. Do you guys have Correct X?
Yeah.
Put Correct X on your sores.
Okay.
The detox bath with Roma Touch is very helpful and soothing, especially when it gets all hot and itchy, because shingles are no joke.
No.
It's
painful.
Yeah.
No,
and the other thing that you can do too is, do you have any abode, Robin?
Yeah.
Okay. You can use the abode in his laundry, and and also do it on his side of the bed when he's sleeping, when he gets up, because it will clear. And you want to be vacuuming the bed every day, because with the sloughing of the shingles, you just want to be cleaning that up as much as possible. As far as your scalp is concerned, put the Correct X on. You can even do it on the top of your scalp as well, but try not to do any rubbing. So if you don't have to, are you on a break now, or do you still have to continue to work, Matt?
I was going to take today and the weekend off and planned on healing, relaxing, and going to work back on Monday for a meeting I had scheduled with all my contractors at 9 a.m. But I took over 80 phone calls today from work and the different job sites, all in a 6-hour period. Started at 9:30 in the morning, and I didn't get home till I think 5. That's just kind of how it ended up. And when you work for yourself, you got to go to work. You don't have a choice, right?
Nope.
Regardless of it. So, I went into Canadian Tire today looking like this, and it's just like, man, I can't believe I have to do this to get some fuses and stuff. So.
The big thing I would suggest is pack 3 pairs of socks and underwear and undershirts, cotton undershirts, and keep changing them 3 times a day. So before you hop onto the next job site, run into the bathroom, change out, because the cotton will absorb a lot of the bacteria and the sweat and fungus that comes out when you're draining. Just keep changing your socks and underwear and your undershirts, please. If you do nothing for yourself while you're running around during the day, and take Copaiba and a flu bomb even if you can, Robin, get him to have On Guard and DDR Prime if you've got those soft gels. I buy, because my husband's a construction worker, I buy these little Tupperware containers and I throw them in here and chuck them in his box, in his lunch box. And his alarms are set every 4 hours. And if not, I phone him and harass him and say, did you take that? Did you take that? The other thing that you can do, I don't know if you guys have this, but the Deep Blue Stick has copaiba in it. Okay, that's going to be your best friend for the ache and pain. So put Correct X on and then put this on your neck and inside your wrists, especially, and on the bottoms of your feet. So just a little bit of self-care while you're still going to keep doing what you're going to keep doing. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But the little things that you can do, and make sure that you're putting them in a Ziploc bag or a garbage bag in the back of the truck, and try not to reach into them as much as possible.
Okay.
Keep your clean stuff and your dirty stuff separate. Okay. And it'll help with the healing time because there won't be as much transmission.
1 second, sweetheart.
Is that helpful? Is that easy stuff you can do?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can work that into my daily routine. It's all pretty simple stuff. And I stop enough at gas stations for fuel and coffee for the crew and everything else that I can find a washroom and change all my clothes and stuff. For sure.
Yep. Yeah,
and
the
I know
other
we have
thing
all the
too.
oils you talked about too, so I'm sure she's gonna line up the daily package for me here for sure and take care of it. So I'm sure it'll be easy
The
to
other
implement.
thing is, while you're itching, wear rubber gloves.
Okay.
Because shingles spreads, and if it gets under your fingernails and you rub a different spot,
That's where it's going. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I like
Go ahead,
run around the
Kelsey.
house after I'm like done.
I had a question.
Yep.
I was
Thanks
just
for being
curious
a
about,
test.
sorry, can I ask a question about this? My boyfriend had shingles a little over a year ago, and he feels like it still affects his immune system and that he hasn't got back up to being strong from it. So after that point, what would you recommend to say build him up from the point that knocked him, like knockout punch? He does not have the rash, and that it was in his crotch and down his leg. So
Yeah, they say normally it's underneath the armpits and the groinal
In
area and
warm
stuff around all
spots, yeah.
those nerves. Yeah, mine, I actually had a small cut. I bumped my head on a cupboard here at the house when I was getting my son a glass for a drink, and it made the smallest cut. And that's where all of this originated. That's where it all started, was the smallest cut. I don't know if that's where the infection started, but it was really just hitting my head on a cupboard. And that's where the bump started. It went one red line and a couple red spots around the outside going right from that cut. And then it just went full blown everywhere after that. I think the body just needed to create an opening for it to just fall apart and let anything in that was ready to attack it.
Yeah. So, Kelsey, I know you popped off, but I would suggest that you use Immobic and Sensory for support for aftercare. So for right now, Matt and Robin, I would continue to do ID. Sensory will help limit the nerves. It'll help with the nerve endings and stuff. Do that for quite a few weeks. Then move into Immobic and Sensory. And then after that, do the number 2 and then She Robin. Okay. So that's about intro number 2. So that's about 6 weeks to 8 weeks of care that you're going to need. And while it's really hot and open like this, you need to be doing this almost by the day. I would say maybe if you can really keep up your supplements, you can cheat by doing it every other day. But right now, while it's hot and nasty, I would do it before bed every night.
Oh, doesn't he look so upset about me having to do that?
And
Yeah.
if worse comes to worse, Robin, honestly, especially because he's changing his socks in the middle of the day, you can do the lymphatic and the ID in a roller bottle and give it to him so he can just apply it at the bottoms of his feet to
He's
help
changing
draw
the
out
socks.
the pain. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never experienced anything like this in my life. Like I've been sick, and I've been real sick before, but never have I had a doctor prescribe me 18 pills per day to get rid of what is going on with my body's immune system to fight it. Like,
The
especially
biggest thing you're,
since, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's just like I've made all these decisions to be healthier. Like I've lost almost 60 pounds and kept it off for 2 years. I only had 32 to 33 days in quitting smoking, but I've been tapering off for over the last year. And it just feels like bad luck. It just feels like it's just one thing after the other. I was on puffers and medication and antibiotics 6 weeks ago for something completely different that was right into my lungs and everything. So it's just one thing after the other. And I don't know if it's just because of work and stress and the body's run down. I haven't had a chance to get it back up again or not.
It's likely, and I'm going to be very honest, Matt, it sounds to me more like detoxification than it does. Like it sounds like it's a really bad combination of detoxification. You mix the stress environment and then the immune system just goes, right? Yeah. So self-care is going to become so radically important for you to try to get off the stimulants. Once you're done all the antibiotics and everything, you guys are going to get a hold of me, because in the spring we're going to run a gut cleanse, and I want you to be a part of it so we can help you, because the big thing is going to be getting rid of all of the antibodies out, because part of the whole thing, when the parasympathetic nervous system is strained and then the sympathetic nervous system is maxed, everything is just becomes one tumbleweed bigger than the next as it rolls over, right? And you've done such a great job supporting yourself to quit a lot of the stimulants, but that tar has to come out somewhere.
It's still there. All the poison's still in there for sure. I can feel it. And I wondered if this, like when it first happened, I was like, man, maybe this is my body getting rid of all the poisons, like because I gave it a break from not smoking, and maybe it's like, oh, okay, I got a chance to get rid of some of the garbage. But it's they said it was just unbelievable.
I can confirm that that's probably what's going on, because I got hugely sick when I quit smoking. I smoked for like half my life. I smoked longer than I cared to admit that I was a smoker for.
I had 18 years.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna quit smoking. And then my body was like, oh yeah, well here you go, fuck you. Here's all these things that I'm just gonna make you sick. And like, I had rashes, I had fatigue, I had all kinds of things. So I highly recommend like what Stacy was suggesting, that when you are done all that, going through the gut cleanse, it helps.
I have gut issues to begin with, so a gut cleanse sounds perfect, but I've had gut issues for a couple years now.
Huge. And maybe just like take a look take a look at different like changes you can make in your diet. I had huge success with the Whole30, but there's lots of different ones out there. Like just take a look and see, because everyone's different, everyone's body's different, everyone responds differently, right? But I found the Whole30 with the gut cleanse as well too, right? But just make small little changes. Don't try and do everything all at once, because you'll be good for a couple weeks and then you're not going to do it anymore. So
I don't eat a lot like I used to eat all the time. Everything, it didn't matter, garbage, like just eat all the time. And now I eat usually supper. Like I was usually running off stimulants till 5 p.m. That'd be morning till night. Wake up and it's Red Bull and cigarettes, and maybe a bagel at 2 o'clock if my stomach was bothering me, like where I had like hunger pains. Well, a bagel to help hold me over till 6 p.m. supper, and then after that, I'm done for the evening for eating. So, need to change a few things for sure.
Yeah, only eating like once or twice a day is good. Try and eat smaller and eat really good healthy snacks. But I know all of this is way easier said than done. So, and I'm like,
I'm not the only one that does that. That'd be
that was me. Like I didn't eat right. I did all the things that you're not supposed to do. So it's been a journey for the last like since before my son was born, but really changing it up in the last couple of years. So but I need to run off. I hope you guys have a good rest of your class. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Angela.
One of the biggest things that I'll do is I'll go through my literature and what I can do to help talk about adrenals, and I'll send them to Robin. But here's the biggest thing. Don't be hard on yourself, right? We don't get into these conditions without having had decades of stuff done to us. When my body blew up, it was bad and it was big, and I'm still healing from it, Matt. And that was 2007. So I had a brain injury. My body was blasted to smithereens. It was awful learning to walk and talk again, all kinds of things. So just be really, really gentle with yourself. Give yourself permission to fall off the wagon sometimes, and don't be critical. But it's likely most smokers that do quit in their mid 30s to late 40s tend to get shingles. It's a side effect of the autoimmune just kind of releasing, right? So
releasing, trying to restart for sure.
Just be gentle with yourself, protect your adrenals. I'll send you a bunch of protocols that you can do, but one of the things that I'm really going to highly suggest, especially because you're getting a life experience with this, is if you can share, you're going to empower other men to not feel powerless the more you share, right? And just be like, there are answers there. There's a place to come that's safe, that we can talk and not feel like we're going to get man shamed for overworking and taking care of our families, because that's not a thing. That's a perceived thing. What we really want to do is to empower ourselves so that we can teach our partners. My poor husband walks around with a big doTERRA kit everywhere he goes because he drills through his hand, or he falls off a ladder because he's playing monkey bars in the A-frames of the scaffolds, or, you know, like, seriously, the man is 47 years old and he does some pretty bad stuff. And every now and again, he comes home. The other day, he was overhead drilling, and the drill bit in a knot, and it shot the drill back at him and broke his safety glasses. And he had this huge cut over his nose, and he comes home and he's like, can you fix me? And you can't even see anything because he's like, he drove home covered in blood. And that's the thing. He's like, why should I go to an emergency room? You're right here. You're just gonna fix it.
I don't do that to you, do I? No, I definitely come home and say, help. Fix me. I'm broken.
But it is very, very nice to have another person with the same perspective for him to hear it from, because it's like, it's not that he doesn't believe me, but I think it feels different coming from someone else. And I think too, your little description about like telling men that it's okay to, you know, work too hard and take care of your family is like the perfect example of the masculinity and the fact that us women and our femininity and our like nurturing and wanting other women to feel empowered. So like if the men need to get together and talk about that stuff, then they can do that, and we'll have our cute little rooms and invite the men in when they're not feeling scared.
We're really lucky because our team leader, Steve Scott, our team is led by a man, and he is amazing. And I wouldn't have joined had it not been for him, because he and I can speak the same language, because I don't speak frilly girl. And I don't really have that in my bio makeup, being in the military and all the rest of that. You know, so I love being able to have men come on and feel like we can have a conversation about what's really going on, and there's no shame in it, right? Like, we're all just trying to do the best with what we can. And sometimes our best isn't our best because life circumstances makes us have something bigger go on, right?
Life gets in the way. We've been doing a lot of growing together, me and Robin, over the last couple of years since she started with doTERRA and learning herself and you know, developing herself on who she wants to be in her business, how she wants it, and everything else. And we've been growing our businesses together side by side and going through it together, and had our challenges and our upsets and our victories. And she likes focusing on just the victories and just the small wins, right? She loves the small wins. The small win for me would be getting, you know, the exact number of doorknobs I needed, as opposed to being one short. But I don't think about that. I think about, well, where am I going to get the other doorknob? Because that slows the guy behind you. That's the difference. Is, she likes the small victories, and me, I need the end game, the final win. Everything else before that is just misery and stress. And once I get to the end, it's like, oh, I did it. Now on to the next one. Where's the next thing that makes me miserable? Find it quick, because I need to stay busy, right? That's kind of how I'm built. And my dad's the same way. Like he's still working, even though he doesn't have to. Stress straight out, working 14, 16 hours a day. It's just how I was born and bred. But being with her, I'm learning to meditate, slow down, take breaths. Last night was the first time ever where I got overwhelmed and actually had trouble breathing. And obviously the mind instantly goes to, oh God, I'm double vaxxed. Am I one of the ones where his heart just stops right here? And I just could not catch my breath. I went and grabbed easy air, was breathing for, solid 10 minutes. And then it was over an hour where I had trouble breathing. And I've never experienced that in my whole life, ever. I just have sort of an arrogant, confident personality and never had any issues at all with any anxiety or feelings of shortness of breath or the gut feeling of anxiety where it's like pressure. And it all hit me at once. And I don't know if it was just the overwhelm of my body, the system that it's in today, and the stress of everything, or what was going on. But it wasn't a fun feeling at all. For experiencing it the first time, it was troubling for sure.
Do you wear a tight toque under your hard hat? Like a
I
neoprene
have for the
toque?
last 4 weeks. I have worn a
Okay,
tight one
because
on my
that's
head
really
pretty well
gonna
all
help.
day.
Yeah. Jason wears a sports toque, a football toque underneath his hard
Just
hat
to
as
wick away
well.
the sweat and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Keep you
So if
cooler.
you can get 2 or 3 of them and keep changing them out too, just to protect your sores, that's a really great thing too.
Okay.
Do you like heavy metal?
I don't. Actually, I shouldn't say I do or I don't. I like all music.
Okay.
But
So
I
tools-
wouldn't pick it as my first choice of listening to.
Well, the reason why I'm suggesting it is because people who have aggressive jobs, who have to deal with a lot of chronic stress, Tool is a really great band to listen to when you're frustrated, so you can
vent it.
tap your feet. And like when I'm mad, I go to yoga to Tool.
Okay.
I
release
do. It's not
Yeah.
even funny, Kelsey. I do it. I went to Wanderlust in 2007 to this big yoga festival, and we had this big guy. He was built like a brick house, and he was our yoga instructor. Not because I was signing up for somatic yoga, and this big dude steps in, and I was like, "What are we getting into?" And I had never done yoga to heavy metal ever before in my life, and I loved it. Like, it was like Rage Against the Machine, just getting it out of your body. So if you can find like a song that really, you have to have 3 tracks. It has to be 12 minutes.
Okay.
And just like, and just get it out of your body.
Yep.
In between your contracts, then you don't store it and take it to the next one.
Yes. Yeah. From the morning when I'm still carrying stuff from the day before, I can feel that I have stuff when I wake up in the morning that's from the day before, month before, whatever. Several items, carry them from the very second I open my eyes, and they just stack on top of each other. And I try to dish a bunch off by the end of the day, and then I carry some home, and it's hard for me to shut it off when I get home.
Yep.
Pretty
When I
much
have
live
to
for
deal
my
with
work.
chronic people and chronic stress, I like listening to Limp Bizkit, and I sing along to it, and it just like releases it,
Okay.
because it's all about the nookie, right? To get that,
Yeah.
it's all about the nookie. So you can take that cookie.
I'm with you.
So you
for
have
sure.
to learn to find something that's also playful to your nature.
Yeah.
and do that. So if you can even just add that as a little bit of an incorporation to what you're doing in between your drives, in between the construction sites, and making sure that you're drinking warm drinks, not cold drinks, until this all clears up, because that will help protect your kidney. And the other last thing is to get a warm heating blanket to put on your side of the bed, put it underneath the sheet, like underneath the fitted sheet. So that way you're warming up your blood and you're warming up your kidneys, because the other thing of jumping in and out in that metal environment all the time with all that heavy construction is it's really taxing on the central nervous system and on the kidneys. So if you can put a heating blanket underneath that fitted sheet to warm you up when you get home, and make sure you rinse off every day, like rinse off, have a hot shower.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sound doable?
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. It was so lovely to meet you, Matt. Thanks so much for participating and letting us have a window into how we can help, because this really helps everybody in the big scheme of things.
Not a problem. I appreciate you having me.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Did you have any other questions, Kelsey, about that with your man?
I don't think so. Robin sent me the little protocol while I was skipped out there trying to get my computer back up. So I think I should be okay.
Perfect.
If I take up any more time, I've had more of it than anybody else.
No, it's all good. This is all just a learning window for everyone to get a look in. And I hope this was helpful to everybody. I hope it kind of demystified so you don't have to overthink that you can't, right? Just do what you can. If you have questions, reach out. We're still going to leave that group chat up, right, Robin? So that if somebody has questions, they can put them in the group chat and we can help get you some support to where you need to be. Does everybody feel confident though, that they know at least where to try to find? You're welcome so much, Mandy. Where to try to find like the systems and how to demystify what to use. We're all good on that now?
I think so.
Awesome.
Any of you girls without your camera on, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
I had one question. Where do you find the basic one that you were giving her? Like basic number 1, basic number 2? I don't think those were in the book that I got.
Intro number 1 is basic.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's intro number 1 and intro number 2 before the basic protocol.
Okay. Okay. I'll look again. I didn't see it in there.
The pages kind of get stuck together when the books are new. Okay, go to the next page. You're muted, Kelsey.
Yeah, I was, but this is
that's
basic.
the basic.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then before that, right? You said?
Is it in yours?
I don't think so. Before basic is SOC instructions, no intro, anything.
Okay, I'll send
So
you
maybe I
these
have a
two
different
then.
edition or something. I don't know.
Probably. I'll send you these two then
Okay.
in our chat so you have it, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, and if you ever feel like you have questions that you can't have answered, too, if you get the Symphony of the Cells app, this is something we didn't go through, but it also has an instruction booklet, right? So if you ever get stuck, just go through the instructions. And like I said, you're just looking for clues. You're just looking for clues to what you think fits best at that situation. Try not to overthink it. Just listen for clues. And hopefully I haven't overdone it so that you guys all have different looks at different pockets of things, so that it helps you demystify how to look for those clues to find the systems, so that you can get more knowledgeable, and the more you practice, the better you get. Okay. Thanks so much for having us, Robin. I really appreciate you taking the time to host this again and let everybody have a window in.
Oh no, by all means, the thanks is all in your corner. I appreciate this so much, very, very much. And thank you, Angie, for watching. I know it's really late where you're at.
Where's Angie located?
I know she's in England somewheres. Angie, did you want to talk? I'm gonna guess no, but
It's 12:30. Yeah.
oh yeah, okay.
Bless
Well,
your
I don't blame
heart.
you for wanting to go to sleep, hun.
Okay, love you guys all. Thank you so much for having me and for taking the time to learn this. It's great material to add into your advocate repertoire. And if any of you have any questions or you want further information, please just keep writing in the chat and we'll do our best to serve and help you. You're so welcome. Bye everyone. Have a great
Bye.
night. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.